Oke, selamat sore teman-teman Bumi. Kembali lagi dengan saya Tala, salah satu co-founder Bumi Playscape. Semoga semuanya dalam keadaan sehat ya. Hari ini kita akan membahas tentang bagaimana cara membangun perilaku baik dan juga kemandirian anak. Nah, pastinya di saat pandemi seperti ini itu menjadi sangat challenging untuk orang tua ya. Selain bekerja, kita juga harus jadi guru di rumah. Nah, sekarang kita akan kedatangan seorang guru dari sekolah ACS, namanya Mr. Michael Martin, yang akan berbagi tips tentang cara-cara membangun perilaku baik dan kemandirian anak. Oke, kita panggil Mr. Michael Martinnya sekarang ya. Hello. Hi. Hello, Mr. Michael.
How are you?
Good. How are you? So nice to have you here with us today. Can you hear me clearly? Mr. Michael, can you hear me? Mr. Michael, can you hear me clearly? Yes. So it's so nice to have you here with us today. Can you please introduce yourself?
Yes, I just want to say hello to everyone. My name is Mr. Michael. I'm a teacher at ACS, Anglo Chinese School, and I'm very happy to be here with you today.
How long have you been teaching at ACS?
This is just my second year teaching at ACS, but I've been teaching for much longer than Indonesia. I've been in Indonesia for about 10 years now, and I currently
Mr. Michael, sorry, I think I cannot hear very clearly, and some of our audience also says that they cannot hear you. Is it possible to move closer to the camera or use a headset maybe?
Okay. Is it better now?
A bit unclear. Is there a headset maybe? Yeah, some of our audience also cannot hear very clearly. Or maybe we should restart. Oh, I think there's a headset. Okay. Hello?
Hello. Thank you.
That's so much better. Okay.
Wonderful. So sorry about that. Shall we restart?
Yes, we can restart.
Okay.
So it's so nice to have you here with us, Mr. Michael. Can you please introduce yourself? Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Certainly, miss. I'd just like to say hello to everyone. My name is Mr. Michael. I'm a teacher at ACS, the Anglo Chinese School. And I've been teaching here at ACS for just 2 years, but I've been in Indonesia for about 10 years teaching English. My specialty is in the lower primary, So I'm currently teaching grade 3, and I was teaching grade 2 last year.
I see, I see. And can you tell me a little bit about the Anglo Chinese School?
Certainly, Miss. We have more than 800 students here at ACS. We were founded in 1996. We're based in Chipayung. We've got a beautiful campus here, a very thriving student base from all over the world, our teachers and our students as well. So yes, it's a pleasure to work here, and I think for the students to go to school here as well.
I see. Where is the location?
We're in Chipayung, Miss.
Oh yes, yes, in Chipayung. And
Chipayung.
what curriculum do you guys use?
We teach the Cambridge curriculum, Miss. So that's the
Cambridge.
focus of my English class as well. Yes.
I see. All right. So Cambridge all the way from kindergarten to high school.
Yes, Miss.
Okay. All right. So today we are going to talk about developing good behavior and also independence in young children. Mr. Michael, we are facing a very challenging time right now where
Certainly.
children are forced to do e-learning for so long. So I am very sure that many parents here would appreciate some tips about how to maintain and develop their independence and also their good behavior at home.
Certainly,
So
I would be happy to help.
my first question for you is, how can we guide students on managing the workload during e-learning?
Well, exactly. And this is one of the things that we often forget about is the tremendous strain on students who are still at home with full classes despite the e-learning. With our students currently, we have students who are sitting in front of a computer for many hours in the day, and then they also have homework after this as well. So one of the things that's very important for students is that they keep a diary so that they can better organize their day-to-day tasks. A diary will help them know exactly what they have in each day of the week so that they can come to the tasks in a manner that makes sense. I also recommend that students keep an organized folder so that they're able for each of their core subjects to have a different section of the folder. So they would have one for maths and one for English and one for science and all of their core subjects. So they can then easily access the material through this. One thing as well that the children should really try and do is to break their workload into chunks. Right? So rather than stressing out on a Sunday evening thinking, oh my goodness, I have all of this work due on a Monday, this is one of the areas where a diary will help our students, is that they can see exactly what they have day to day and they can approach it in a structured and ordered manner that will make sense. The last thing I would say for children managing the workload is please try to remember that our students need their sleep. So I see many students sometimes doing their assignments as late as 10, 11 o'clock at night, sometimes even later. And it's very important, if at all possible, to try and do the work before dinner time. Because, you know, like anybody, after we eat, we have a sudden burst of energy, and then slowly we become lethargic. We become a little bit more sleepy, and it becomes very challenging for children to do work after dinner time. So I think in summary, making sure that you have an organized way of approaching it with a diary, a folder, and then also making sure that you're not pushing things after dinner time too much so that the students are piling it up right before they go to sleep.
I see. So the key is to stay organized, right?
I think so, Miss.
With folders and also diary. Okay, that's a very good tip for parents. And my second question is, how can young students maintain better focus during e-learning?
Well, this is one of the things that I think we forget about children is during e-learning, they need to sit and many times there's not too much movement. So one of the things that's really important for this is to try and remove the distractions from their immediate workspace. You know, the temptation is with our children to often try and make education as interactive and exciting as possible. So we'll go out and get the very colorful pencil clip case with all the buttons and the textured pieces on it and the rulers that are bendy and lots of fun to play with. But if they're not if they have these items in front of them all day when they're learning, the temptation is the student will start to bend the ruler, or maybe they'll start pushing the buttons on their pencil case. And this is a way that students tend to distract themselves, to tune out a little bit during the lessons. So I often recommend parents to try and keep it simple. Don't go over the top with our pencil cases and our rulers and erasers and so on. A simple pencil case is enough for the students so we can remove these distractions for them. Also, especially with e-learning, I think it's very important that the student have the right place to study. Many students, they think because they're at home, okay, I'm going to recline in my sofa and do the studying there, or I'm going to find a comfortable place on the floor to study. Yeah. I think it's so important that we maintain that sense of normalcy and we keep our students in a desk space, if at all possible, with a flat back chair that they can sit in. This is going to be very good for their posture long term. We don't want our children to be slumped over for months and months and months doing their e-learning. It's not good for their backs. Yeah. And also this kind of prolonged posture is not very good for their learning either. So I think making sure that they have the right materials that aren't going to be overly distracting, making sure that they have a proper seating, especially during e-learning. As I mentioned before, making sure that our students are getting enough sleep, because nothing distracts a student more than if they're rubbing the sleepies out of their eyes in the morning, or maybe if they woke up late and they skipped breakfast. Mm-hmm. These are some of the basic things we can do to be successful. Finally, I would say with e-learning, it's very important that students are able to take breaks. With prolonged periods in front of the screen, this is I think not a healthy situation for our students. So it's very important in between class, the student should stand up, stretch, move around the house if at all possible, get a snack, a drink of water, and just get that blood flowing around their body, so that this will help them think clearer and will help them be more successful overall.
All right. So do like mini exercises in between each session.
Exactly. And I think the good teachers will also try and incorporate this into their classes as well, getting the students up and moving for a part, getting them to do different activities that don't just keep them in their chair.
Okay, I see. Before we move on to the third question, I just would like to mention to our audience today that you can also ask questions. Boleh tanya apa aja kepada Mr. Michael di kolom chat, nanti di akhir sesi akan kita berikan sesi tanya jawab. Okay, next question. How can we encourage a young student to be bold and take risk with English?
Yeah, I think this really is where it's very important that you find the right teacher, because with teaching, it's so important that we encourage our children and that we praise them throughout the learning process. One of the things that I always focus on in my classes is leveling my questions according to the ability of my students. So we have some students that are very, very shy. They really feel uncomfortable with raising their hand and taking that step forward. But what we really want to do is to pull them out of their shelves and have participation at least once per lesson. I think this is very, very important to their overall growth and learning. So what I will do is if I have a student that is normally very shy, very reserved about answering a question, I will try and identify this student, and then I will come to them with a question that I know is at their level and is manageable for them. So if it's a very shy student who's maybe not so comfortable, I'll come to them with a very basic question, right? And I encourage them, draw out the answer. You can give them some clues if you want. And then once they've given you the answer, make sure that there's that praise there afterwards and that recognition so that everyone else in the class can see as well. And the student will get that little burst of enjoyment from the act of learning. So I think this is very important, especially for some of the students that have challenges, because every time they get that little burst of enjoyment, the next time they're going to want to participate and maybe try a slightly more challenging question. So I think this is very important, that we encourage our students, that we praise them throughout the learning process, and that we recognize that, we were all students once as well, and there's a fear of feeling sometimes like you failed, or maybe you didn't participate to the best of your ability. We really want to get students past that.
Okay, I see. Thank you for your explanation. And how can you ensure that a young student develop independence in class?
Well, this is one of the things that we really emphasize at ACS is to teach independence from a very young age. You know, we want our students, even as young as grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, to take responsibility for their own belongings. You know, when we're in school, we always emphasize to the students, you know, we are not there to take care of your backpack and to unpack all your books and to take out your pencils and erasers for you. You know, you are now in school, and we want you to develop these skills as well. So we always push the students to make sure that when they come into class, it's very neat and organized. Okay, they know every class to take out their pencil case, take out their books, take out their diaries, make sure that they're all organized properly on top of one another, and then stand behind your desk ready to start the lesson. This is one of the things that parents can do as well, is that you really want to avoid, you know, preparing all of these materials for your child at the start of the day. You know, you can help them in the process. If they say, Mom or Dad, I don't know where my pencil case is, certainly we can help them to look, but we want them to actually be the ones to physically prepare it themselves in the morning, to take that responsibility. The same thing goes with the diary as well. You know, the children should be filling in the diaries themselves, and while the teachers will always check the diaries to make sure that these have been properly filled in, it is the child's responsibility to make sure that everything in there is followed up on and complete. So we're always pushing accountability, responsibility, and setting that standard of independent learners right from the start.
I see. And other than the ones that you have mentioned, what other things can parents do at home during this pandemic time?
I think it's really good to, instead of just asking the children, you know, how is your day? Because you're always going to get a very standard answer. If you ask a standard question, how was your day? You're going to get good, bad, or I don't know most of the time, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's very important that we ask slightly more detailed questions. You know, tell me what you did in class. Okay, no, you must remember you must have done something. Okay, this is what you did. Were you successful in this? Okay, if they say, yes, I was successful. Oh, really? Okay, so what did you do today that helped you find that success? Or if they say, no, you know, I really feel like I could have done better. Okay, how will you do it differently next time, dear? Okay, so kind of showing them what they've done well and recognizing that, or if they feel like they could have done better, no problem. How will we do it differently next time?
I see. So by asking those questions, we actually we are trying to make them reflect on their own
Exactly.
experiences. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So next question: how can children maintain relationships with their peers and classmates during e-learning?
Well, I think this is something that all schools should try and do, is setting up some time that is not strictly class time, where the students can gather together and meet. You know, so much of class time, traditional class sometimes, is focused around the teacher speaking, the students listening and taking notes. But what we really want to do is to set up activities where the students can work together in class as well, where they can kind of separate a little bit from the teacher and, okay, we're going to tackle this group project together today. One of the things that I use in my classroom is I'll use breakout sessions in Google Meet, where the students divide off into groups, and then they're able to kind of work on a problem or maybe do some group writing together, and the teacher will monitor from a distance, right? So I kind of put the onus on them, and this allows even the shyer students to kind of come out of their shell. They can, okay, instead of asking the teacher a question, it's less intimidating to ask one of your friends. We also have, at the end of our school day, a program called our sharing circles. And this is such a nice thing to do at the end of the school day. For all of our homeroom classes, we gather together in small groups of normally around 4 or 5 students. And we have the students share about what's going on in their lives, you know, any problems that they've had in school recently, anything exciting that they've done recently. And for these classes, I really try and let the students take the lead. Often I'll say, okay, why don't you go get a drink or a little bit of food? We can sit and talk together. Show me the room that you're studying in.
I
What have you all done
see.
over the last weekend? So it's not strictly school, but it's what we do after school to kind of decompress and to get out some of those emotions that we've been bottling up during the pandemic as well.
Yes, yes. And you do it every day at SES?
Yes,
At
miss.
the
I
end
do
of
it
every
5 days.
day?
As a homeroom teacher, because I'm also a homeroom teacher at ACS as well.
I
I do
see.
it 5 days a week, and this is done by all the other homeroom teachers in primary as well.
I see. Yes, that's a very important part because at this pandemic time, it's very challenging for children to socialize. So
I think so, but one of the things that's so gratifying to me is I've had some new students come to ACS just this year. And
yeah.
I've had students say to me who are brand new, they haven't actually physically been in the school. Oh, I'm so excited that I'm in this group because I'm with my BFF, which is such a lovely thing for me to hear because, these two have probably never met in person, but they've developed a rapport and a relationship just through the e-learning and through these sharing circles as well. So that's a really nice thing to see.
Yes, that's very heartwarming.
Yeah.
Even though they're afar, they can also maintain relationship during class time.
Certainly.
I see. Okay. Let's see if our audience has questions.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. Let's see. Wait, let me see. So far, I don't think there's any question. There's a
I see
little
some of my
comment.
students saying hello.
Oh, really?
Yes.
There's a comment from Ibu Ina Cahyani. Hi from Surabaya. Hello. So glad that you can
Hello.
join us from Surabaya. And no question so far. Hi, Mr. Michael Arlanga says hi.
Yes. Erlanga is one of my students. Hello, Erlanga.
Okay. So far no questions, but feel free to ask questions.
Please
Yes,
do.
Teman-teman Bumi boleh tanya ya, boleh tanya apa aja sama Mr. Michael tentang cara tips-tips dalam e-learning. Juga Mr. Michael ada specialty in English, so Mr. Michael mengajar kelas Inggris, jadi bisa juga tanya. Oh, ini ada pertanyaan dari Ibu Erika Pramesti. What is the challenge to introduce independence for P1 student coming from different kindergarten?
Coming from a different kindergarten.
Yes.
Okay, well, for the especially young students, the challenge is to kind of separate them from, especially when they come to a new school, there's new expectations for the students. And some of the children might still hold on to this idea of, oh, my mother and father, they are there to help me step by step. So actually the accountability is not on me, it's my mother and father. So if we ask, why didn't you do the homework assignment? Perhaps the student will say, oh, my mom and dad, they didn't remind me. Okay, so this is one of the challenges that we have to change that mindset in the students. Your mother and father are there to assist you, but actually what we need to do is we need to make sure that the accountability is on you. And it's not something that's done overnight, but I think the partnership here between teachers and the student is teachers and the parents is very, very important because if the student gets this message from the teacher and then they go to their mom and dad and the mom and dad says, no, your teacher's correct, actually the accountability is on you, then the child will slowly start to take this on.
I see. So it has to be consistent between parents and teachers too. Yes,
exactly. And that's where the cooperation and the relationship between parents and teacher is so important.
At ACS, is it one of the most important thing to build communication between parents and teachers? Like, do you
Certainly,
discuss?
miss.
Yes. Okay.
Certainly.
So
This is one of the
meet virtually now. Do you meet with
So
the
this is
parents
Yes, this is
regularly?
one of the things that that we do quite often is 2 or 3 times per quarter. We have correspondence with all of the parents where we update them on the curriculum in English. Actually, we'll be doing that shortly in my grade 3 English class. And then also we have our parent-teacher conferences, which were just done a few weeks ago, where the parents and the teachers will gather together. I believe it was quite a long day, maybe 7 or 8 hours of meeting different parent groups and students as well,
Yeah.
and talking about individual needs of the student. And a lot of time and preparation goes into this, because when I meet with a parent, I don't really want it to be just general advice to a student of a similar age. I want it to be very much tailored to their particular child, and so it really requires going back through all of the results and thinking about all of the areas where this child could improve. So it's such an important part of the learning process, that close bond between the parents and teachers.
I see. I see. So some parents can also ask questions about ACS, maybe, if you want
Certainly.
to know more about ACS. There's another question from Dunia Sekar. How parents can help endorsing independent character at home?
Okay, so one of the things that I would say is that it's not just, we shouldn't limit the independent character mindset to just education, right? Everything that the student does from the age of 4 or 5, we really want them to take initiative and to make the choices on their own. At the moment, I have a very small child at home. Actually, she's just a baby, only 8 months old. But already what we're trying to do with her is to have her pick her own clothing, right? To have her make that choice for herself. So we put the options in front of her and we let her make the selection. Okay, which clothes do you want to wear today? So I think this is very important with our students also making sure that they take care of their own personal space at home. So setting up a routine where they have chores, maybe they do need to wash their own dish or they do need to make their own bed, even if they have a helper at home. I think it's important to set up accountability in other areas. Because, if we have students who have maybe a nanny or a maid at home, it can be very tempting to have the nanny and the maid, do all the washing up, do all the cleaning, and everything is spotless, right?
Yes.
But then if we expect the child to have independence at school, well, the child is not learning these skills in other areas of his or her life. So I think it's important we develop a well-rounded child who can take care of their own space, their own bedroom, as well as a child that can take care of their own books.
Okay. So it can start from very early age.
Yes, miss.
Yes. As you mentioned, your baby is 8 months old and
Yes.
she can make choices.
Exactly.
Okay. Another question is from I am Greasy. How do you help parents make sure students would sit down and learn independently?
Okay, so how to help parents do this is I will, communication, like I said, is very, very important, that if there's an issue at all with the learning, you are in immediate contact with the parents. So this is actually one of the things that we maintain throughout e-learning is if ever a child is absent from the class or even late in any significant fashion, it's important that we contact immediately the parent and we circle back and find out how we can help with this issue. If a student is struggling, for example, if there is a student that was doing very, very well before the pandemic, but now they're in a situation where they're very much struggling with their e-learning, this is again a situation that the parents need to be notified of quickly, because this is uncharacteristic of the student and they might be experiencing a lack of some kind of support, or there might be an area where either myself as the teacher or the parents could facilitate the learning better. So I would say, again, communication with the parents, making sure that if there is an issue, immediately addressing it in the form of an email or a call if needed.
I see. And another question, do you do reward system or do you think the online learning method of ACS ensures that?
Certainly, miss. I mean, like I've said, the small reward system that I do in class is praising children on the spot. And then we will occasionally have in school, at the end of a quarter or at the end of a semester, there will be rewards given to students based on their achievement, participation. Another way that we try to facilitate independent learners is we make sure that each quarter we have a class captain and class vice captain. Okay, so these are leadership positions within the class. And at the moment, the duties of class captain and vice captain are to help the teacher with attendance, to make sure that there are no side conversations in the chat feature, and also to generally set a good example by coming on time, helping their friends. So I think that this is, we're not actually handing out candies to the children, but we are handing something I think much more valuable, which is, this feeling of a leadership position and independence as well.
I see. Okay, I hope that answers the question. Any more question? Or anything else that you would like to address, Mr. Michael? Since it's,
I think
almost towards the end of our session, so is there anything that you would like to address?
Well, as you said, I'm happy to take any more questions that may arise. And the only thing that I would encourage all of our viewers to do is that we've got an open house at 10 a.m. on November 7th at ACS. So if you would like to learn more about the school, we would love to have you. And, please feel free to come by and ask as many questions as you'd like. And, we'd be very happy to see you there.
Okay, so there's an open house coming up. How do they register for the open house? Is it through WhatsApp, email, or?
They can check the website, Miss, I believe, to register. Yeah, we have all the information on our website.
Okay, there's a question. Is there any schedule for a virtual open house? It just mentioned by Mr. Michael. It's on November 7th at 10 a.m. Right? Yeah. Okay, so it's an open house for all grades, or is it only certain grades?
I believe so, Miss. I believe so. Let me just ask the admin team, because my specialty is in primary. Miss, the open house is for all grades, right? Yes, it's for all grades.
I see. Okay, so maybe parents can check out the website, the ACS Jakarta website, to find out more about the open house. Okay, if there's no more question, I would like to say thank you for Mr. Michael for today. I'm sure
thank you so much.
Many parents would appreciate your tips, especially during this challenging time.
Yep.
So thank you so much.
Good luck. Yes, exactly. I mean, it is a very challenging time, and I think, if we just keep strong together and persevere, that we will make it through this, and we will have great success, and our children will see success as well.
Yes, so. And I hope the schools can reopen soon. I hope the condition is better soon, and schools can reopen so they can
certainly
do normal school. One comment from Dimple Baharani. Mr. Michael is the best teacher.
Thank you so much, Ibu Dimple. Thank you so much.
Okay, if there's not any more question, thank you so much, Mr. Michael.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Jakarta and Buumi can do more IG Live soon.
Yes, thank you so much. Everyone stay safe and stay healthy as well. Thank you so much for having me. Okay.
Thank you. Stay healthy,
everybody.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.